Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Scotty Knows Show. Ian is off this week, and it's also, I mean, we were off last week. It's kind of hard to find somebody that's available before 2:30 and after 11:30. So I'm probably going to be doing some solo shows until then. Um, but it's kind of hard to necessarily talk about some things by yourself. Um, you know, like, oh, the NFL is happening. It just feels like I'm screaming into the void when that happens. So instead of doing that, I decided, you know, why not let's do some tier lists by ourselves, maybe something a little different, which is what we're gonna do this week, which is a movie bracket. This is on bracket fights. This is the best movies of all time. There's 128 entries. So let's see what we got here. So all right. And all right, so this is our bracket here. So there's 128 entries. So let's use matchup mode for this. All right. So our first matchup is Tarzan versus the Avengers. Now, um, I don't know about you. I've gotten a little bit of a superhero fatigue. Yes, the Avengers is a high gross movie. It made a lot of money, but Tarzan is freaking Tarzan. Tarzan is awesome. Um, and one of these movies has a Phil Collins soundtrack, and the other does not. So I'm going with Tarzan in that one. Our next option: Spider-Man versus Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of the Black Pearl. Um, Pirates of the Caribbean, when it first came out, was huge, um, but so was Spider-Man. And this is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. The first Spider-Man is fantastic, I think. And so as good as pirates are, Spider-Man is Spider-Man, so Spider-Man. Number two, The Dark Knight versus The Departed. Holy crap, this is a tough one. Um, the Dark Knight, obviously Heath Ledger, fantastic. I mean, there's not much you can say about that. The Departed is great, if only a little self-indulgent, a little bit, I think. This is a very, very hard matchup. This is like an 8-9 seed almost. Um, ooh, ooh. Um, and the thing about the Dark Knight is, you've got. I mean, it's a superhero movie, but it doesn't. It just feels like a very good movie by itself. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dark Knight. Next one, Lassie versus Matilda. Okay. Um, Lassie is. Yeah, you know, I know I've seen both of these movies, but it's been at least 20 years. Um, Lassie's a good dog movie, but I want to go with Matilda on this one because it seems like a better movie. Um, I need to revisit both of these movies personally. I don't envision either of these advancing past this. So, Matilda. SpongeBob SquarePants movie versus Deadpool 2. Uh, just based off of what I enjoy personally. I mean, I like SpongeBob, but an entire movie feels like a little bit of overkill. It feels like too much SpongeBob. That's just me personally. Um, Deadpool 2 was fun, but it wasn't as good as the first one, I don't think. But I'm gonna go with Deadpool 2 on that one. Cars versus Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. One of these has Larry the Cable Guy, and the other does not. One of these was pretty good and led to an absolutely horrible sequel. Cars 2 is garbage. Um, and then the other is one of the more hated, and unrightly so. I don't think it's hated for the right reasons. Movies, that being the Rise of Skywalker. Um, I'm actually going to go with the Rise of Skywalker in this because I just think it's a better movie, and Cars 2 coming directly after Cars 1 hurts it, I think, because Cars 2 is garbage. So, Star Wars. Toy Story versus Pulp Fiction. Jesus Christ. Okay. Um, ooh. One of these I feel like I can watch once every couple of years. The other I can probably watch every year. Um, Pulp Fiction is a classic. It's very, very good. But Toy Story is it's hard to have these two do battle because it's like a kids movie versus an adult movie. Um, but Toy Story started a franchise, and I think every movie in the Toy Story franchise is good. So Toy Story wins this mainly just because it should, I feel like. I mean it's hard. It's a very hard one to pick there, but Toy Story. Ooh, The Mask versus Captain America Civil War. This is another very tough matchup. Um The Mask is a movie I watched a lot as a kid. Uh Captain America Civil War I think is the best Avengers MCU movie personally. Um that or Winter Soldier. Um one of these has, you know, whatever it is, and the other has Jim Carrey uh trying to make balloon animals with condoms. So, and it also introduced us to Cameron Diaz. So I'm going to actually go with the mask in this one because I've seen it more. Shallow Hal versus the Amazing Spider-Man. Ooh, the Amazing Spider-Man. I think again it gets a lot of unjust hate. Um, I've been a part of that a little bit from time to time, but Shallow Hal is one of the better Jack Black movies. Um, who I am actually gonna go with the Amazing Spider-Man on this one because I haven't seen Shallow Hal in a while. I know it's a good movie, but I just haven't seen it in a while. Daddy's Home versus Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, this is going to make some people mad, but I've never seen Indiana Jones, so I know, sorry. But so I'm probably not going to be able to put it through as much as I would like to. Um, Daddy's Home is all right, but um, I'm actually going to put Indiana Jones through because of the bits that I've seen I liked, and I think it's infinitely more entertaining than Daddy's Home. uh, you know, he brings a gun to the guy has like a knife or a sword or something like that and just shoots him. That part was kind of cool, and it kickstarted a franchise, I believe. So, Indiana Jones, Mrs. Doubtfire versus The Force Awakens. Who? The Force Awakens, decent movie. Um, Pretty good one. A lot of fan service. Mrs. Doubtfire is an all-time classic though, and I grew up watching that. So, Mrs. Doubtfire in that matchup. Dumb and Dumber versus Forrest Gump. Dumb and Dumber is one of my favorite movies of all time, personally. Forrest Gump is a good movie. It's a little bit too long though, I think. And on top of that, yes, there is Bubba Gump Shrimp, like the restaurant, but those people that work there have to watch that because it's on the TVs in there all the time, and that just feels terrible, and I would hate that. So Dumb and Dumber wins in this matchup. Divergent versus Ice Age: The Meltdown. Now I've seen both of these movies. I think I'm almost positive I've seen Divergent. Um, but in this one, like Divergent, not great, not great. I mean, it was part of that of like a series that just didn't hit with a lot of people, I don't think. Ice Age did. And also there's Dennis Leary as a saber-toothed tiger and Ray Romano as like a woolly mammoth and John Leguizamo as whatever the hell John Leguizamo is in this movie. So Ice Age 2. Madagascar 3 versus Marriage Story. Uh don't know why Madagascar 3 is in this, personally. Marriage Story, very good movie. I fully suggest watching it. It's on Netflix. Um, yeah, so Marriage Story wins this. World War Z versus Spider-Man No Way Home. World War Z, I saw, wasn't too impressed with it, I guess you could say. I've seen better zombie movies. Um, it does have the great South Park parody on it, though. Spider-Man No Way Home, I thought was very good. Yes, it did give a lot of fan service with the three Spider-Man, spoiler alert. But yeah, uh Spider-Man No Way Home. Django Unchained versus Wreck-It Ralph. Okay. So in this matchup, I mean Django Unchained pretty good. Christoph Waltz, fantastic. Wreck-It Ralph, pretty good, but Sarah Silverman can be kind of annoying, I think. So that kind of detracts from it. So I'm gonna go with Django, just based purely off of Christoph Waltz, because that's one of the better performances. Wizard of Oz versus The Notebook. One of these is an all-time classic, and the other is a movie that your girlfriend made you watch in 2006. Um, it's a good movie, don't get me wrong, but if just a tinge cheesy and a little bit overrated. The Wizard of Oz basically is a pioneer of the movie industry. It's like from 1939, 1941, something like that. And it's fantastic. So Wizard of Oz. Spider-Man 3 versus Dumb and Dumber 2. Two very not well received sequels here. Dumb and Dumber 2 was kind of garbage. And Spider-Man 3 had a dancing Tobey Maguire. So I actually enjoy that part. it just makes me laugh. So Spider-Man 3. Okay, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince versus Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. I have not seen Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle yet. I have seen the Half-Blood Prince. I like it. Harry Potter. Harry Potter and I believe that's the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone in America versus Jumanji: The Next Level. Again, haven't seen Jumanji: The Next Level, so I'm going to have to go with Harry Potter on this one. War for the Planet of the Apes versus We're the Millers. War for the Planet of the Apes. I I believe that's the third one in the Planet of the Apes series. I don't think I've seen it yet. Um, and We're the Millers is fantastic, mainly due to the you guys are getting paid, and the no regrets thing. Jason Sudeikis, I feel like I've kind of soured on a little bit because of the whole Olivia Wilde thing. But Jennifer Aniston is in that, and woo Jennifer Aniston. We're the Millers. The Lion King versus Hotel Transylvania. This is a bloodbath. This is the Lion King. Don't need to say any more. Lion King. Madagascar 2 versus Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Um, Madagascar 2 I have seen. I think it's pretty decent. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has maybe one of the coolest scenes involving Brad Pitt that I've ever seen, where he's just like, and then just chaos happens. Uh, yeah, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix versus Return of the Jedi. Um, ooh, so Return of the Jedi, I believe, if I have my subtitles correct. So Return of the Jedi. Um, so it's like A New Hope, and then it's God, what the hell's the name of the Empire Strikes Back, and then it's Return of the Jedi. Um, I'm gonna go with Return of the Jedi just based off of how historic it is. Order of the Phoenix isn't bad, but it's not the best of the Harry Potter movies. So Return of the Jedi beats it. Beauty and the Beast, the animated original versus Avengers Age of Ultron. Age of Ultron compared to the Avengers, not as good, I didn't think. Beauty and the Beast, all-time classic. I believe it was nominated for Best Picture, which is wild for a animated movie. So Beauty and the Beast. Elf versus Rogue One. I have not seen Rogue One. Um, but I have seen Elf. I kind of dislike it, but I mean, I feel like Elf has to go on because because it does. So Elf. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith versus Thor Ragnarok. Um, Revenge of the Sith it's an okay movie. Thor Ragnarok I have not seen, but I've heard it's maybe the best Thor movie. Um, I'm gonna have to advance Thor Ragnarok. Um, I episode 3. I mean, it's maybe the best of the prequels, but that's not saying very much. So Thor Ragnarok. The Green Mile versus Captain America: The First Avenger. Um, First Avenger, pretty good movie. It's like one of the first MCU movies in chronological order, so I've seen it before. But The Green Mile is The Green Mile. So it's sad. It's a very very good movie. The Green Mile. The Witches versus Spider-Man Homecoming. I've not seen The Witches. I have seen Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which I've seen, versus Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which I think, if I'm remembering correctly, is the third of the Indiana Jones movies. It's also maybe the third most liked of the Indiana Jones movies. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, very very good movie. Rise of the Planet of the Apes wins. It's maybe one of the better Planet of the Apes movies. Shrek versus Back to the Future Part Two. Oh boy. Um. So Shrek has, I mean, obviously it made DreamWorks boatloads of money. Back to the Future Part Two, very good. Um, maybe the best of the Back to the Future movies, but Shrek is a juggernaut. So Shrek. Spider-Man 2 versus Instant Family. Never seen Instant Family. Have seen Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2. Oh, we're going back to the top here. So Spider-Man versus Tarzan. Oh boy. So Tarzan, yes, it does have the Phil Collins soundtrack, but Spider-Man made me into the nerd that I am, so Spider-Man. The Dark Knight versus Matilda. Dark Knight. It's just better than Matilda. Deadpool 2 versus the Rise of Skywalker. It's a little bit tougher. Um, I am going to have to go with the Rise of Skywalker just barely. Just barely. It ekes out. It's like a 7 seconds left in overtime and she's on your mind. That's this. So Rise of Skywalker. Toy Story versus The Mask. Oh, god damn it, after my own heart here. Um I love The Mask though. Uh but it's Toy Story. I mean, it just is. It's Toy Story. I love The Mask. It's a great movie, but Toy Story. The Amazing Spider-Man versus the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Um, Again, I think the Amazing Spider-Man gets a lot of unjust hate, but it's going up against a juggernaut in Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones. Mrs. Doubtfire versus Dumb and Dumber. Oh my God. Um, Dumb and Dumber all time class. Both of these are all time classics, but like I said, Dumb and Dumber is maybe my favorite, one of my favorite movies of all time. So Dumb and Dumber. Ice Age 2, The Meltdown versus Marriage Story. As an adult, I enjoy Marriage Story a lot more. So I'm actually going to go with Marriage Story. Spider-Man No Way Home versus Django Unchained. Um, Sorry, Django, this is where it ends for you. No Way Home. Wizard of Oz versus Spider-Man 3. This is the end for Spider-Man 3. So this is the Wizard of Oz. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince versus Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm gonna have to go with the Sorcerer's Stone because um, it's the first and it's arguably one of the better ones, I think. So Harry Potter won. We're the Millers versus Lion King. Sorry, Jennifer Aniston, but Simba rules. Lion King. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood versus Return of the Jedi. Ooh. Uh yeah, it's gotta be Return of the Jedi. It's gotta be. I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I mean, you see on the cover there that you have Princess Leia looking as only she can look. So Return of the Jedi. Beauty and the Beast versus Elf. Beauty and the Beast in a landslide. Thor Ragnarok versus the Green Mile. The Green Mile. I think mainly because I've seen it. I think so. Green Mile. Spider-Man: Homecoming versus Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Ooh, this is uh this is an interesting one. I'm actually gonna go with Planet Rise of the Planet of the Apes because I like it more. I just do. Um, Shrek versus Spider-Man 2. Shrek. Spider-Man versus the Dark Knight. Jesus Christ. Okay. Um, ooh, can I have to go with the Dark Knight? I mean, I love Spider-Man, but god damn, this is tough. Uh, Rise of Skywalker versus Toy Story. Toy Story. Raiders of the Lost Ark versus Dumb and Dumber. Again, I enjoy Dumb and Dumber way more than I enjoy Indiana Jones. So, Dumb and Dumber. Marriage Story versus Spider-Man: No Way Home. No Way Home in that one. I love Marriage Story. It's a good movie. You should watch it. Wizard of Oz versus the first Harry Potter. Yow. I'm actually gonna go Wizard of Oz in this one. I I mean both. Well, I mean it's not a bad movie, but Wizard of Oz is just a timeless classic. It just is. Lion King versus Return of the Jedi. Sorry, Star Wars. This is where it ends for you. It's Lion King. Beauty and the Beast versus Green Mile. Oh, I'm actually gonna go with the Green Mile in this one because I mean, Michael Clark Duncan. Oh, R.I.P. But and I feel like it can be the Green Mile is less annoying. The fact that I don't have kids. If I had kids, they would watch Beauty and the Beast, and I would get annoyed by it. So, the Green Mile. Kids shouldn't be watching the Green Mile. Rise of the Planet of the Apes versus Shrek. Um, I like Rise of the Planet of the Apes a lot, as evidenced by how far it's gone. But it's got to be Shrek because, like I said, Shrek is a juggernaut. Now we go up to The Dark Knight versus Toy Story. Um, I'm gonna go with Toy Story on this one. The Dark Knight is great, but um, I don't know. I just I feel like it is just a smidge overrated. Just a smidge, just a smidge. A lot of people love Heath Ledger and his performance as the Joker, but I think part of that is just partially because he died. I know that sounds terrible to say, but um, I think that's honestly the truth. Um, so I'm gonna go with Toy Story here. Dumb and Dumber versus No Way Home. Ooh. Um, as good as No Way Home is, I will watch Dumb and Dumber until the end of time. So, Dumb and Dumber. The Wizard of Oz versus Lion King. Um, it's gonna be Lion King. Sorry, Wizard of Oz. Your run is over. The Green Mile versus Shrek. I love the Green Mile. It's very sad, but it's gonna be Shrek. Toy Story versus Dumb and Dumber. Um, oh, Samsonite. I was way off on this one. You know what? We had every now and then whenever it's the NCAA tournament, you have an upset. Dumb and Dumber. It's just what I want. It's what I want. Lion King versus Shrek. Lion King. I love Shrek. Again, it's a juggernaut. But Lion King might be the greatest movie of all time. We will see. So Lion King. So then it goes to Lion King versus Dumb and Dumber. Uh, this is the battle of 1994 right here. Um, I'm gonna say Lion King, but barely, like double overtime here. Lion King. So now we go to the other side of the bracket. Wally versus Wolf of Wall Street. I think I've seen parts of Wally. I've seen all of Wolf of Wall Street. I love it. Wolf of Wall Street. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban versus Toy Story 4. Um, Toy Story 4 is good, but it's probably the worst of the Toy Story movies. Prisoner of Azkaban um, wins this. Harry Potter and is that the let's see here. Deathly Hallows Part 2 versus Interstellar. Um, that's the final Harry Potter movie. It's okay. Not not the best, but it's okay. Interstellar is something entirely different. Interstellar. The Boy with the Striped Pajamas versus Despicable Me. I have not seen Boy with the Striped Pajamas, but Despicable Me gave us the Minions, and so for that, Boy with the Striped Pajama wins because screw the Minions. Um, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones versus Monsters Inc. Um, I don't think this is a contest. It's Monsters Inc. Attack of the Clones is all right, but it also had Jar Jar Binks. So, Monsters Inc. Saving Private Ryan versus Deadpool. Saving Private Ryan is a movie that I've only seen once. Um, Very good movie. Star-studded cast. Um, I am going to have to ooh, you know what? I mean, Deadpool is fantastic. It's a great movie. Also has TJ Miller in it, which detracts from it. TJ Miller, horrible person. Saving Private Ryan. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire versus the Truman Show. Now, the Goblet of Fire is my favorite Harry Potter movie. Truman Show, very, very good movie. Only seen it once. Um, it has to be Goblet of Fire because I mean Robert Pattinson dies. Spoiler alert, but he does. So Goblet of Fire. Megamind versus Bruce Almighty. I've never seen Megamind. I have seen Bruce Almighty. Bruce Almighty. Tangled versus Toy Story 2. Tangled is very good. It's a very underrated Disney movie. Toy Story 2, though, is a juggernaut, and it introduced us to Jesse and Bullseye, I think. So, Toy Story 2. Jaws versus the Temple of Doom. Temple of Doom is the reason that the PG-13 rating exists. Little known fact. Jaws is a PG rated movie. I know. Um, and it also kicked off the summer blockbuster uh craze. So for that, I picked Jaws. Peter Pan versus the Shawshank Redemption. This is a bloodbath here. As good as Peter Pan is, it's a very good movie. The Shawshank Redemption is like the ultimate cable movie. It's the movie that your dad probably watches every year, at least 4 or 5 times on TNT. So the Shawshank Redemption. Ted versus the Godfather. This is an insult to the Godfather that it's up against Ted. Ted is a it's a funny movie, but the Godfather is the Godfather. How in the hell is Ted going against the Godfather? The Godfather. Liar Liar versus Home Alone. I've seen Home Alone maybe once or twice. It's been a long, long time since I've seen Home Alone. Liar Liar though has Jim Carrey kicking his own ass. Do you mind? So it's Liar Liar to me. The Empire Strikes Back versus Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. God damn it! I had a feeling this would happen. Alrighty then. Ooh, Empire Strikes Back might be one of the top 4 or 5 sequels of all time. Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, of the three of the Holy Trinity of Jim Carrey movies of 1994, being Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, and Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, I think it's the worst of the three. Um, so I'm gonna have to say Empire Strikes Back. Finding Nemo versus Spider-Man: Far From Home. Um, Finding Nemo, very good movie. Ellen DeGeneres, annoying as hell though. Spider-Man: Far From Home, very good movie. Uh, the fact though that the character's name is Mysterio, and like part of me always thinks of Rey Mysterio when I hear Mysterio, and it kind of confused me, and it was like, oh, okay. Finding Nemo wins this one because I would like that movie with Rey Mysterio a lot more. Solo, a Star Wars story versus Pixels. I have not seen Pixels. I have a feeling I would like it. Um, I have seen Solo, a Star Wars story, and I did like it. Um, I'm gonna say Solo wins that one. The Hunger Games versus Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3, very good movie. The Hunger Games, a little overrated, I think. Um, Toy Story 3. It's one of the saddest movies of all time. The Scrooge versus Phantom Menace. Scrooge, all time classic. Phantom Menace, even though it gave us Jar Jar Binks, it also gave us Darth Maul, who was maybe my favorite Star Wars character of all time. So, Phantom Menace. Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets versus Jurassic Park. I didn't like Chamber of Secrets. I didn't think it was that good. Jurassic Park, though, I like. So I'm gonna pick Jurassic Park. It's an all-time classic. It's the best of the Jurassic series. So Jurassic Park. Jurassic World versus Shutter Island. Jurassic World, a lot of fan service, a lot of advertisement in it. It's basically a Kia commercial or whatever vehicle they drive. Shutter Island, very good movie. Is that is that Scorsese that directed that? I I mean, very good movie. I suggest checking that out. Shutter Island. Free Guy versus Avengers Endgame. I have not seen Free Guy. I have seen Endgame. I'm going to pick Endgame. Back to the Future Part 3 versus Ice Age. Um, Part 3 is maybe the worst of the Back to the Future movies. Ice Age, pretty good movie. Ice Age. Inception versus Guardians of the Galaxy. Inception, very good movie. A little confusing. Guardians of the Galaxy, good movie. Excellent soundtrack. Um, I'm gonna pick Guardians of the Galaxy in this one. Sorry, Inception. The Joker versus Aladdin. Okay, so Aladdin is a very good movie. It's got one of the better Disney soundtracks to it. But The Joker was a movie that I identified with way more than I thought I ever could. The Joker wins this one. Madagascar versus Step Brothers. Madagascar, um, feels like we talked a lot about it. Good movie, but Step Brothers. one of the all-time classic comedies, Step Brothers. Gladiator versus Back to the Future. Oh, one of these is a Best Picture winner. One of the other is a very good movie. Also, like sometimes movies that are like the Best Picture winners aren't maybe the most watched movies of that year. Gladiator feels like the movie that was. Um, Also, I feel like it introduced us to Joaquin Phoenix. I might be wrong on that. Back to the Future though is hard to beat. The first one, at least, very hard to beat. Back to the Future wins that barely. Star Wars: A New Hope versus The Incredibles. The Incredibles is one of the best Pixar movies. Star Wars started an entire conglomerate franchise, so to speak. Um, hmm. I'm gonna go with Star Wars in that one, and I kind of don't like that. But Star Wars. Avengers Infinity War versus Schindler's List. One of these is maybe the most depressing movie of all time. It's a movie that it's like 4 hours long, and you probably only need to watch it once in your entire life. The other is Infinity War. So, Infinity War. Ratatouille versus The Last Jedi. Um, Ratatouille, I don't think I've actually ever seen. Last Jedi, I have. Last Jedi. The Grinch That Stole Christmas versus Captain America Winter Soldier. I said earlier that Captain America Winter Soldier is maybe my favorite Marvel movie, so Winter Soldier. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes versus The Little Mermaid. Timely. Um, yeah, The Little Mermaid, of course, having a lot of controversy right about now. As I'm filming this, with the Halle Bailey, I think is her name, being the person in that. Don't mind it. Um, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, good movie, pretty good sequel, not as good as Rise of the Planet of the Apes, though. Little Mermaid. Plus, the priest has a boner in that, if you look closely. Um, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 versus Inside Out. Inside Out, maybe one of my favorite Pixar movies. So, Inside Out. So we go back to the top. Wolf of Wall Street versus Prisoner of Azkaban. Wolf of Wall Street. I love Harry Potter and Prisoner of Azkaban, but Wolf of Wall Street. Interstellar versus Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Interstellar. Monsters Inc. versus Saving Private Ryan. This is where it ends for Monsters Inc. Sorry. Saving Private Ryan. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire versus Bruce Almighty. Goblet of Fire. Bruce Almighty, all right movie, but Goblet of Fire. Toy Story 2 versus Jaws. Jaws. It's a very good movie. I'm telling you, very good movie. Toy Story 2, also a very good movie, but the movie industry owes a lot more, I think, to Jaws than it does Toy Story 2. Oh my god. Holy shit. Um Shawshank Redemption versus The Godfather. This is an impossible question to answer here. The Godfather Part 2 I wish was on here because The Godfather Part 2 is arguably better than The Godfather. Shawshank Redemption, very good movie. Um, oh wow. Um, Both of these are considered the greatest movie of all time by a lot of people. Um, I'm gonna go with the one I've seen more of, The Godfather. I've seen that way more. Uh, Liar Liar versus The Empire Strikes Back. I'm gonna have to go with The Empire Strikes Back. I love Liar Liar, but it's Empire Strikes Back. Finding Nemo versus Solo, a Star Wars story. Finding Nemo. Sorry, Solo. Toy Story 3 versus Phantom Menace. Sorry, Phantom Menace. Toy Story 3. Jurassic Park, Shutter Island. I'm gonna go with Jurassic Park. I think Shutter Island's a great movie, but Jurassic Park is one of Spielberg's best. Avengers Endgame versus Ice Age. I like Ice Age, but Endgame is it's up there. Very good movie. Guardians of the Galaxy versus Joker. I'm gonna go with Joker. That might be an upset to some, but it's what I'm going with. I just like it more than, and I think it deals with a lot more serious matters, and it could happen. Honestly, it could happen. Step Brothers versus Back to the Future. Um, ooh, both of these you can watch multiple times. Oh, excuse me. Um, both of these you can watch multiple times. I'm gonna go with Step Brothers though. I just am. So Step Brothers, it's I think it's significantly funnier. Back to the Future kind of a messed up movie if you really think about it. Kid goes back in time and almost has relations with his mom. That's weird. Step Brothers. Star Wars versus Infinity War. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I think I get Infinity War and Endgame confused. One of these is one um, where spoiler alerts, Tony Stark and Thanos kind of die simultaneously, and then the other is Star Wars. So, Star Wars. The Last Jedi versus Winter Soldier. I'm gonna go with Winter Soldier on this one. Last Jedi, your run ends now. So Winter Soldier. Little Mermaid versus Inside Out. I'm gonna pick Inside Out on this one. I think it's very good and it deals with things that other Pixar movies don't. You know, a lot of mental health stuff. So Inside Out. Go back up to the top. Wolf of Wall Street versus Interstellar. Um, I'm gonna pick Wolf of Wall Street. I like it more than I like Interstellar. Wolf of Wall Street. Saving Private Ryan versus the Goblet of Fire. Goblet of Fire I like, but it's gonna end against Saving Private Ryan. It is. Jaws versus the Godfather. I'm gonna go Godfather on this one. It's fantastic. Empire Strikes Back versus Finding Nemo. Empire Strikes Back. Toy Story 3 versus Jurassic Park. Um, I'm a. This might be an upset to some people. I'm gonna pick Toy Story 3 because I think as good as Jurassic Park is, its sequels are garbage, terrible. So, for the most part, I mean, Jurassic Park 3, ew, gross. Avengers Endgame versus Joker. Joker. You know, I'm not looking forward to a Joker versus Inside Out matchup. That I hope that doesn't happen, but it could. Step Brothers was Star Wars. Star Wars wins this. I love Step Brothers, but its run has to end some point. So Star Wars. Lastly, Winter Soldier versus Inside Out. This is actually where Inside Out where it ends. So Winter Soldier. Wolf of Wall Street versus Saving Private Ryan. Um Saving Private Ryan, great movie. Um but I love there's something about Wolf of Wall Street I love. I mean, it introduced us to Margot Robbie. Um, it's maybe the best performance of Leonardo DiCaprio's career, and he didn't win an Oscar for it. Like, um, and the guy that won the Oscar that year stood in his face and just did this, did that. Shout out Matthew McConaughey. Um, just a wild movie. And it's one of Jonah Hill's best performances of his career. So, Wolf of Wall Street, Godfather versus Empire Strikes Back. I love The Godfather, but The Empire Strikes Back beats it just barely. If this was Godfather 2 versus Empire Strikes Back, I might have a different opinion, but it's The Godfather versus Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back. Toy Story 3 versus Joker. Um, I think this is where it ends for Toy Story 3. I do. I like the Joker, with the mental health aspects that it talks about. And also, I could be wrong. I don't think I have to rewatch it again. I don't think that um the Waynes die in it, or that we see them die in it. I could be wrong, but yeah, the Joker is just fantastic. Joker. Star Wars versus Winter Soldier. Um, I'm gonna have to go Winter Soldier. I am. Star Wars is great. Its sequel is better. Um, Winter Soldier. Back up here to Wolf of Wall Street versus The Empire Strikes Back. I feel like I have to go with The Empire Strikes Back. I love Wolf of Wall Street, but The Empire Strikes Back had one of the best endings of all time. So Empire Strikes Back. The Joker versus Winter Soldier. I think this is where the Winter Soldier's run continues. Yes, I'm actually unseating the Joker here. Winter Soldier, you're moving on. Empire Strikes Back versus the Winter Soldier. It's got to be Empire Strikes Back. It does. I love the Winter Soldier, but now we have the Lion King versus the Empire Strikes Back in the championship. So let's weigh the pros and cons of each of these movies. Pros: Empire Strikes Back, very good movie. It's a sequel. That is actually better than the original. Um, has the great twist ending, Luke, I am your father, that whole thing. Um, and then the Lion King, uh, it's an adaptation of a play. Honestly, I think the play became before the movie. I could be wrong. Very good movie. Has a lot of great life lessons for young children. And it's probably like a lot of kids' introduction to Disney, at least in my generation. Um, James Earl Jones plays a part in both of these movies. I believe the voice of Simba, once he becomes of age, is Matthew Broderick. Um, I think Jeremy Irons is Scar, fantastic as that. Um, Rafiki probably high on some weed, who knows? Or Rafiki goofy as hell. Um, you know, uh Timon and Pumbaa, that's Nathan Lane. I know that. Timon is. Um, this is tough. This is very tough. I'm gonna have to go with Lion King. I am. So Lion King wins this bracket. And yeah, that is our that's our show. So I hope you enjoyed this. So yeah, it's something new that I decided to try, and hopefully you liked it. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned. We might have some crunchy critiques coming up down the pike. Thanks for watching.